I'm Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com, author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life. Okay, so I'm participating in a playlist. It's linked below and at the end of the video about time management. So I'm talking about time management for the overwhelmed because that's who I'm here for, right? So here's the thing. When you start thinking about time management for someone like me whose home was out of control, I would think, okay, how can I schedule in cleaning? And my tendency was to come up with this big, long, detailed schedule. So I would list out all the bajillion things. I was like, you know what, if my house was under control, I would be doing these things. And I would list all of them out, and then I would try to put times next to them. And that didn't work for me, okay? But I would hear people say, you know, it's really not about the schedule, it's about the routine. Well, for someone whose house was out of control all the time, that sounded good, but I had no idea what it meant, okay? So that's what I'm gonna talk about today is what does that mean to have a routine versus a schedule, and how do you actually get there, okay? So little quick story. So one of the big things that I have realized about myself that made this a bigger challenge was that I have what I call TPAD, which is time passage awareness disorder, right? It's made up by me, but it's a totally real thing. Lots of people have it. And that means that my ability to estimate how much time something is going to take is really messed up. Like I will either way overestimate or way underestimate, but it just lent itself to a lot of problems. So even my best friend, Jennifer, who is like way better at keeping her house than I've ever been. She took this home ec class one time, and this is one of my favorite stories, but it demonstrates TPAD and how a lot of people struggle with it. So they had a list of things that they were gonna have to do to like make a cake or something, and they needed to estimate how much time each task would take. Well, the first one was put on your apron and turn on the light. And she put 10 minutes. Y'all, I still laugh about that when I think about it. So, I mean, like that's one of my favorite stories, but like, it's funny, it's hilarious when you stop and think about it, but at the same time, like that's exactly how my brain works. Okay, so anyway, so let's talk about why it is that having a schedule can tend to backfire for people like me. So a schedule would look like at 3 o'clock, I'm gonna do this. At 4 o'clock, I'm gonna do this. Every morning at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna do this. Or it could even be something like, I am going to immediately, the minute that dinner is over, I'm gonna change how I've lived my whole entire life. But starting now, the minute dinner is over, I am going to get those dishes done, get the kitchen completely clean. And okay, that's how I'm gonna change everything, is I'm gonna do that. Or, okay, we are going to pick up the house every night before we go to bed. But then, especially people like me who are always going to choose something more fun than cleaning, life happens, all right? And sometimes it's fun things that happen and I'm always going to choose that. But other times it is just the reality of, okay, we ate dinner in a hurry before we headed to soccer practice and there was no time to get everything done before. Like there was no time for me to get the dishes done and the kitchen clean before we left for soccer practice, especially for someone with TPAD who imagines that that's going to take an hour, right? Or we come home from soccer practice and it's time for bed and everybody's exhausted and cranky. And I'm just like surviving to get kids bathed, which I mean, my kids are older now. I don't bathe them anymore. That would be gross. But I'm like going back to when all this was what I was figuring it out, when I was figuring all this out. So I would be getting kids into the bath, getting them into bed. Never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind to stop and do a whole house pickup before bed. And the problem is when I had things assigned to specific times, okay, when I had that detailed of a schedule that was going to change my life and my home, then I ended up always getting off of that schedule because of life and how I roll. And then I would think, okay, well, what's the point? I can't do this. All right. So where a routine comes in is it's not so much about when you do something, it's about what you do, knowing what moves the needle. I don't actually know what it means moving the needle, but that's a phrase, right? Okay. What is it that actually moves things forward in my house? Identifying those things and then doing those things. Instead of thinking about when am I going to do those things, think about which things need to be done. All right. Number one, if you know me at all, you know what I'm about to say. It's do the dishes. Okay. Whenever you do them, I don't really care, but do the dishes. Do a 5-minute pickup. Sweep the kitchen floor, which is not just about crumbs, but about actually like picking up the kitchen floor and making sure that things are, not on the floor. And checking the bathrooms for clutter. Those are the things that will move you forward, okay? Those are the things to focus on in your routine. Now, I know some of you are gonna say, and do a load of laundry, except I do laundry day. I don't do a one load a day thing because that doesn't work for me. But there's an old video on that, but I'll do a new one at some point. Anyway, having those things as this is a super simple list. There can be more things that you can do, great, but these are the things to do. Because here's the other thing, even when I did not have a routine, when I didn't know which things needed to be done every single day, then I would find myself in a situation where I did have time. Like I had, okay, I'm home today, I need to clean, and I would find myself doing a little bit here, a little bit there. Piddly cleaning is what I call it, and my house really didn't look any better. So these are the things, knowing if I have any time, this is what I need to do. I need to work these 4 things into my day. Then as you focus on these are the things to do, and you try to do those things every day at some point, then you're gonna figure out, oh, this is when it works in to my day the best. So anytime that I can, I know that as part of my nightly routine, when I take vitamins, whatever, the thing that I already do, that's when I need to make sure that these things have been done. As you're getting started on this, the main thing you need to look for is awkward pauses in your day, okay? Those are those times, sometimes they're a 5-minute pocket of time, sometimes they're a 20-minute pocket of time between, oh, I had to run this to this place and I came home and I'm gonna have to leave again in 7 minutes. And I know there's a lot I have to do, but really what can I do in 7 minutes? Look for those awkward pauses, those pockets of time in your day. And then during those awkward pauses, focus on those 4 things. Focus first on doing the dishes. If all you can do is do the dishes, then do the dishes, okay? So I have a little bit of time in my day. I have a 20-minute segment here or a 3-minute. Okay, well, I know that my goal is to get the dishes done at some point today. So I'm gonna go focus on the dishes during that time. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and then if I get the dishes done and I still have another awkward pause or a little bit of time left in that awkward pause, okay, do I have 5 minutes? Can I do a 5-minute pickup? Can I sweep the kitchen floor? Can I check the bathrooms for clutter? Those things are the things that I'm looking for time pockets in my day to do. And the more that I do that, the more I start to figure out this is the routine that's actually most effective. But when the routine is interrupted because life happens and kids change their phase and what used to be soccer practice night is now our one night at home or whatever. I mean, like things change all the time, especially while kids are growing up. And as you get to those changes, you go, okay, I can't do it at the time I was doing it before, but I know I have to do these things. And so I just go back to looking for a pocket of time to do that. The other thing too, is if you have TPAD like I do, I highly recommend that you time your tasks, okay? Time how long it takes you to do the dishes, especially on the second day, not the first day, okay? Time how long it takes you to empty the dishwasher. Time how long it takes you to wipe down the kitchen counters. Time how long it takes you to sweep the kitchen floor, to check your bathrooms for clutter, all those different things. Time the tasks, because that is going to help break through that TPAD for you so that when you have a 5-minute pause, you actually have a realistic idea of what you can get done in 5 minutes, okay? So that's how you work toward establishing a routine, is first knowing what matters the most. What matters the most? Doing the dishes, doing a 5-minute pickup, okay? Those things done consistently are going to take your house farther than having some big long schedule where you say, okay, I've got it planned out minute by minute. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna scrub the toilet, and then I'm gonna do this. And those little things done consistently are going to take you farther. And that is going to ultimately free up time. Because here's the other thing with time management that's really hard is when you don't have a routine, when you don't have an idea of realistically how long different things take, when you don't know how much of an impact little things done daily will take, then you imagine this big monstrous thing of cleaning the bathroom. No, I mean, there will be people who will comment this. I can almost guarantee it because they won't watch this point in the video. But there will be people who will say, just like I used to say, oh no, cleaning the bathroom for me is like an 8-hour job. I mean, I'm sure it never was 8 hours, but that was the mentality that I had because I wasn't consistently getting clutter taken care of in the bathroom. And so if clutter is always there, then I first have to declutter before I can actually do any cleaning. The more often that you have the clutter gone, the more often that you can wipe things down and do a really quick little wipe that then means that when it's time to clean the bathroom, it's not anywhere near as daunting as it used to be. Okay? So knowing which things you need to do, look for time pockets, for awkward pauses to do those things. When you do them, whether it's right now while you're kind of like forcing yourself to do it because you just watched this video, while you do them, time yourself so that you have a realistic idea of how long it's going to take. So then you can know what you can get done in those awkward pauses. Okay, check out the other videos on this. I also want to remind you that Take Your House Back, our course, the course that I do with Clutterbug and the Minimal Mom, is open for registration through the 15th. Okay, that's, I believe, from the day this comes out, that's like another week. You won't regret it. You're gonna love it. We have a payment plan now, so you can do 3 payments instead of the whole thing at once if you need to. But I mean, people love it. People's houses are changing. You're gonna love it. So I highly encourage you to go to takeyourhouseback.com and check that out. Okay, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.